The first transmission lasted 40 seconds, not 40 miles. 40 seconds before it broke. Tesla tried a second one, then a third. Each one failed the same catastrophic way. Meanwhile, a battery factory in Thailand was just a concrete slab. No walls, no floor coating, just posts and heat. Body panels came from France, motors from Taiwan. Everything, everywhere, falling behind schedule. By 2008, the company had spent $140 million, and it still couldn't finish a single working car. By the end of this video, you'll understand the 5 decisions that nearly destroyed Elon Musk before the world knew his name. You'll see why Tesla's own co-founder was pushed out of the company he started. You'll learn about the buyout offer Musk refused, betting everything instead of walking away. You'll discover exactly how much of his own money Musk kept pouring in and why he couldn't stop. You'll uncover the real cost of building each car, a number Tesla never wanted anyone to see. And you'll understand why 2008 became the exact year everything collided at once. A team flown in from Detroit tore the transmission apart looking for a single culprit. What they found instead was worse than one broken part. The root cause analysis turned up 14 separate points of failure, scattered across the design. Each one capable of stopping the car cold. There wasn't one thing to fix, there were 14. And no one knew yet which combination would actually hold up under real driving conditions. The answer wasn't a patch. Musk and his engineers made the call to scrap the 2-speed transmission entirely and redesign the motor and inverter from the ground up. Musk would later describe it bluntly. They essentially had to do a complete reboot, and it was terrible. Months of work, gone. Every supplier relationship built around the old design had to be renegotiated. The car that was supposed to prove electric vehicles could be fast now couldn't even prove it could shift gears reliably, and the clock on an already tight budget kept running the entire time. While the transmission was being rebuilt, another risk was being tested in the most literal way possible. Engineers taped 20 lithium-ion battery cells together and deliberately set them on fire in Eberhard's own backyard on the 4th of July, 2005. A live test of what happens when a battery pack fails catastrophically. It wasn't a metaphor, it was a real fire, lit on purpose, because the alternative was finding out on a public road instead of a driveway. The team watched flames they had started themselves, taking notes, because the only way to know if customers would be safe was to see exactly how bad it could get first. The answer to safe battery production was supposed to come from a new factory, 3 hours south of Bangkok. But when the team arrived, there was no factory waiting for them. There was a concrete slab, a handful of support posts, and an open roof letting in sun and rain both. No walls, no floor coating, no climate control for equipment that needed precision. Just exposed structure, meant to eventually become the site producing the battery packs the entire car depended on. And every week it sat unfinished was another week the Roadster couldn't move toward production. Every one of these problems needed money to fix, and increasingly, that money was coming from one place, Musk's own pocket. He had put in $6.5 million back in 2004 just to become chairman and the company's largest shareholder. By 2005, as costs from the transmission and factory delays piled up, he added $9 million more. By 2006, another $12 million went in on top of that. Each round wasn't fresh capital for growth. It was a plug for a hole that kept getting bigger, and Musk was the only one consistently willing to keep filling it. That someone else was Musk himself, and the person he turned on was Martin Eberhard, the man who had co-founded Tesla years before Musk ever wrote a check. As costs spiraled past every early estimate and deadlines slipped again and again, Musk grew convinced Eberhard had mismanaged the company's finances and hidden how bad things really were from the board. The confrontation didn't happen quietly. In August 2007, Eberhard was demoted from CEO, stripped of the authority he'd held since founding the company. By December, he was gone entirely, pushed out of Tesla and watching from the outside as someone else took control of what he had built from nothing. Interim leadership fell to Michael Marks, a turnaround specialist who arrived with a 10-point, 100-day plan to stabilize the company. For a moment, it actually seemed to work. Costs slowed, some order returned to a company that had been bleeding money. But the longer Mark stayed, the more his vision for Tesla's future started to pull away from Musk. Marx began to see a company that might be safer sold outright or folded into a larger, more established automaker with deeper pockets. Musk saw something else entirely, a company he wasn't willing to hand over to anyone. When Marx put the idea of selling Tesla on the table, Musk said no. Instead of taking what looked like the safer exit, cashing out, walking away from a company hemorrhaging cash, he doubled down instead, betting more of his own resources and reputation on a company that, by every measure, looked like it was failing. It was the kind of decision that either ends in vindication or in losing everything. And in that moment, standing at that fork, there was no way yet to know which one it would be. Doubling down meant tearing into every dollar the company spent, without exception. Musk pushed a brutal cost-cutting program across the board, aiming to knock the price of a single motor from $6,500 down to $3,800, a cut that touched suppliers, engineers, and production schedules all at once. Employees who missed their targets weren't given quiet second chances. Musk warned the team directly, telling them that if they didn't hit these numbers, they would get to see their families a lot once the company went bankrupt. It wasn't a threat about some distant, abstract risk. It was framed as an immediate, personal countdown, and everyone in the room understood exactly what he meant. Some of them did break. In the wake of Eberhard's departure and the mounting pressure, other key figures who had been there from the very beginning started leaving too. Engineers and early hires who had helped build Tesla from a decrepit office and a handful of desks into an actual car company. The exits weren't loud or public. There were no dramatic resignation letters splashed across headlines, but they were telling. A company doesn't lose the people who built it, one after another, when things are actually going well. The numbers, when someone finally dug into them properly, were worse than anyone had admitted. Tim Watkins, brought in to audit Tesla's entire supply chain, spent weeks going through the bill of materials line by line. What he found, it was costing close to $200,000 to build a single Roadster, a car the company was selling for around $85,000. Every single unit that rolled out the factory door was a loss, and it had been that way for a long time, before anyone said so plainly to the people who could actually do something about it. And then the timing turned against them completely. Heading into 2008, with Tesla already burning through cash it didn't have and posting losses on every car it built, the wider economy collapsed into the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. Credit dried up overnight. Investors who might have stepped in to rescue a struggling startup were suddenly protecting whatever they had left instead. Tesla wasn't just a struggling startup anymore. It was a company standing right at the edge of bankruptcy, at the exact moment the entire world stopped lending money to anyone. By December 2008, Musk had poured in his own $6.5 million, then $9 million, then $12 million, chasing a $25 million plan that had become $140 million. A car meant to prove electric vehicles could be the fastest in the world had come within days of taking everything Musk had. If you were Musk in that boardroom, would you have refused Marx's offer to sell too? I'd want to know how you'd decide. Next time, Musk has to choose which of his 2 companies gets to survive and which one doesn't. Subscribe so you don't miss it. If this was worth your time, like and subscribe. Next chapter's messier.